Hello and welcome to Handbags on Google Plus from Sabotage Times. I'm James Brown. This is our Arsenal writer Sam Drew. We're talking today just after the FA Cup semi-final between Liverpool and Everton, and we're joined by Antoine from Empire the Cop, Eric Howell from Fellatonians, another Evertonian writer, Jim Keon, Louise Wayne, who's the infamous 20 Jugs Man United fan from Twitter, Matt Weiner, who's also from Sabotage Times, Owen Blackhurst, a Liverpool fan from Sabotage Times, Peter Wood, who's known as Le Grove, one of the great Arsenal blogs, and we're just going to be talking. This isn't really an attempt to replace Match of the Day, although we have worn our best Match of the Day shirts. We just wanted to show that we believe that football fans could actually discuss amongst themselves and have as much to say, and I think actually more insight than the ex-players who hold back their true opinions because they don't want to offend their former colleagues. So we're going to start with Antoine from Empire the Cop. How do you feel? Why do you think Liverpool won that match?
Because we were the better side.
What was it? What in particular was it that obviously scored more goals? But why do you think you went into that second half, came from behind and won?
Well, it shows the belief of the players. I mean, any derby is like this. Whenever we play Everton, our players seem to give it 110%, and they went into overdrive.
Eric, does that sound? Do you think that's why you lost? That Liverpool wanted it more or tried more?
Second half definitely seemed the case. We sat back a lot further back and allowed pressure that wasn't there in the first half. The first half we were pushing the issue. We got the goal, and then immediately it was like switch went off.
Do you think that was just a sense of, right, we're ahead now, we don't need to keep pressing, or do you think they thought we've done enough to win?
I really am not sure. I guess they must have thought that we had done enough, but looking at our bench and Liverpool's bench, it was pretty obvious that Liverpool was going to throw people at Everton in the second half, and it definitely made a big difference.
It's an unusual way to start, isn't it, with half your best players on the bench? I mean, do you think that's a fair comment, Antoine?
I wouldn't say that. I mean, Henderson, Downing, they're good players. Some people might not think they are, but they're good players. I think it was balanced. I mean, some of those, just to give you an example, both Bellamy and Maxi, they played midweek. So that's why probably they didn't start. Bellamy, for example, he cannot handle the whole 90 minutes. So.
What did you think, Sam, from an independent point of view?
Personally, I thought the substitutions for Liverpool sort of changed the game. I was quite confused as to why Maxi wasn't starting because he sort of got such a great goal-scoring record. Antoine, what do you think?
Yes and no. I wasn't surprised that he wasn't starting because he played midweek, and I know that's why Kenny played in midweek. As far as he's a great player, believe me, he's a great player, but he hasn't been playing a lot of games lately.
Peter Wood from The Grove, the Arsenal blog. What did you make of it? Being not really giving a toss about either of the teams, I guess. Did you think it was a classic game?
No, not really. I thought it was a really poor game. I was really disappointed in Everton, to be honest. You didn't just sit back after the goal. You sat back from the start. I think we played incredibly negative football. It was a painful waiting to counter-attack Liverpool. We got fortunate because you capitalised on the mistakes of the goal, but to come out for the second half of the semi-final and to not play Liverpool were incredibly weak at the moment, in my opinion. I'd be really disappointed. I was disappointed. I thought he'd really go for the Joker. He said the other week after he made 10 years as manager of Everton, it didn't mean anything to have won a trophy. I thought, well, I'm never going to get that.
You think they lacked ambition? Eric, come on, you got your handbag up there.
Yeah, here you go. Throw it at James over there. I kind of disagree with that. I believe in the first half we controlled the midfield quite well, and the territory possession was definitely tilted towards Liverpool's goal. I thought we had a lot more chances to get a second, and it just didn't happen in that first half. And second half, it was a different story, though.
Matt Weiner, what are you waving your rather nice pink and black clutch bag about?
I'd just like to say that I think any Liverpool fans who are celebrating this win should take a good hard look at themselves. I think this result basically papers over the massive problems at Liverpool Football Club. Massive tactical mistakes made by Dalglish, played the wrong players, sacking people the day before the game. I just think Liverpool shouldn't be celebrating this. They should be worrying.
No, you know what? From my point of view, I don't think that's right at all. I think that, they basically spent a lot. The expectation for Liverpool to do well this year is based on the fact that they spent so much money and they probably didn't get value for the amount they spent. I think actually sacking Kamoli yesterday and getting rid of 2 or 3 other key internal members of staff has actually kind of said to the players and the management team, the player management team, sort yourselves out. We will be ruthless. We will get rid of anybody that we want. Owen, you're a Liverpool fan.
I completely disagree with what Matt said there. I think if you can't celebrate an FA Cup semi-final win against your biggest rivals, then you really need to choose another sport. And whether it papers over the cracks or not, we're in second time every year. Clearly, there's been mistakes made. The tactics haven't been great. Some of the signings haven't done well, but you've got to celebrate it. I think I agree with what James said regarding Liverpool and they're prepared to take drastic action. And I honestly believe there'll be more drastic action in the summer. I think we'll see some of these signings either marginalised or maybe loaned out to gain confidence, and there'll be more players brought in. But you've got to celebrate.
Eric, you spoke earlier about sort of winning the midfield battle. Did you think a lack of width in the Everton team also kind of hindered you in the second half especially?
Absolutely. We missed Pinar largely, with him being cut-tied. I think he would have changed the match completely. Just no pace. I was really shocked when Drenthe wasn't on the bench whenever he didn't make the 18. I thought he would have been very dynamic and would have pushed the issue and gotten some more opportunities for Everton.
And then Seamus Coleman coming on in the second half, giving away the free kick for the winner. Did you think he was quite at fault for that, really?
It was a ill-advised tackle, definitely. Possibly could have even been a second yellow there. I was really kind of surprised that Webb kept the pocket closed on that one. But Coleman was great last year, and this year with his injuries, he's just been very hit and miss. Just hasn't really gotten into any sort of flow and rhythm. And I was really surprised that he made the 18 in front of Drenthe.
Okay, I can see Matt's waving his handbag around there. I'm not sure if that he wants to talk or he's just getting attached to it.
No, seriously, I can't believe that we've gone this far into this chat without anyone mentioning Andy Carroll's miss.
Yeah.
Because it's expected.
Antoine, go on.
I'll jump into that about Andy Carroll's miss. Well, yes, it was a bad miss, but at the end he scored a winning goal. So
yeah, for me he was the man of the match. I've got to bring Jim in now because he's been sitting there probably licking his wounds a little bit for half an hour. Jim, do you think Evertonians really believed they could win this match?
No, not at all. Yeah, can you hear me right?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, not at all. I think we sort of expect going into these big games that we're going to win, as we always do.
Yeah.
Antoine.
Really,
I'll stay with Jim.
Yeah, really kind of, it's in 77, 86, 89, it's just what they do. They always win the big games, so it's almost not waking them up sometimes.
Yeah, and Eric, did you feel like that, or did you feel that you could win the game from the start? I don't mean sort of once you were 1-0 up.
Getting the goal helped, but we've been we've been 1-0 up in so many situations in cup ties that it's not been very reassuring. So I thought we needed to get a second. Once I wasn't very confident just 1-0 up. We needed a second. If we were up 2-0, I would have felt a lot better.
Okay, Louise Wayne, 20 jugs. On your Twitter feed, you are a notorious baiter and hater of Liverpool. Did you see anything there as an avid Manchester United fan that made you think Liverpool have indeed improved under Kenny Dalglish?
I think they've got worse.
Do you really think they've got worse?
Yeah, like, I think Kenny should go, pretty much.
Wouldn't it be better for him to stay if they're doing worse?
Yeah, well, I suppose. Actually, yeah, keep him forever.
But what I mean, for me, when Dalglish returned, and indeed when Liverpool were first going well under him, I noticed a lot of Man United tweeters that I know seemed to be getting quite riled and were more antagonistic towards Liverpool. Did you feel that there was going to be a resurgence for Liverpool under Dalglish?
No.
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 And what about Andy Carroll? Matt mentioned Andy Carroll earlier. Would you have Andy Carroll at Man United?
Never, ever.
Would you have had any of those players at Man United?
No.
Oh, okay. What about your?
No, listen. The only one I like is Enrique. I think he's really good, but he didn't play him today for some reason.
It was strange that. Well, it was just.
Yeah, he's their best player by a mile.
Yeah, that was unusual. I thought that they looked a little bit flat with 3 centre-backs playing across. Louise, what's it like looking at the ex-Man United players there? You had Tim Howard, Gibson, Philip Neville, Howard Webb. How do you think they played?
Don't make me swear.
But, I mean, do you think... How did they play? You must have watched them play for United. Manchester United.
Yeah, I'm glad they're playing regular football now. I love them all.
Okay, Owen Blackhurst, who's one of our editors on Sabotage Times, an avid Liverpool fan. Why do you think Enrique didn't start?
I'm not sure. He got injured a few weeks ago, and he hasn't been back to his best since then. And I was in transit for half of the first half.
You were in a transit van?
I was in a transit van, yeah. When Jelovic scored, I was waiting for a peacock to cross the road. So I was in a little bit of a fluster for the first half. I don't know Enrique. I don't know. Daniel Agger's not a left back. But I think going back to what Twinning says, I think the anti-Liverpool bias she shows is often quite commendable, as much as it makes me want to throw tea at my computer quite often. to say Liverpool as a club hasn't gone backwards under Kenny Dalglish, and even as a team, we created more chances in one match than we did under Roy Hodgson. And I think the results recently have been terrible. I think Daniel Agger not being in has played a massive part in that because Carrigan Stewart are two similar centre-backs. We've got no one who can pass the ball out from the back of the point. And we invite the pressure on a lot more than Agger in the team.
Eric, how do you respond to that?
Well, I've got a theory on Enrique's not playing, and it is the fact that he was the most experienced goalkeeper on the bench for Liverpool.
Peter, again, from your point of view, did you think that Everton ever would have... I mean, you're an Arsenal fan, I know, but do you think Everton think that they can't beat Liverpool?
I don't know. It's interesting to hear Everton fans say that they didn't think that they could win that game. It doesn't seem like... I always think Arsenal can win a game, but I guess that's we're in different positions in the table most of the time. But I would have thought that a David Moyes team would come out and want to play us. I mean, whenever Everton play Arsenal, it's always a really tough game. They get results. So I don't really understand that mindset. Not thinking that they can win the game.
And I think, just to talk to you about Andy Carroll for a moment, because I think when he first came up into the Premiership with Newcastle, one of the first games that he established himself as being a force was the 1-0 win against Arsenal, when he pretty much ran you ragged. Do Do you think he's still got that? Because to me, he looked like he was really coming into the game in the last 20 minutes.
I think he's a battering ram, isn't he? He's a battering ram player. And that's pretty much who he's got out of his game. And getting in. What I liked about him today was he did miss that shot in the second half. But he didn't stop working, and he just worked and then it came good again. But I don't think that makes him a good striker. He'll never be a great striker. But he will get the end of things. He's just your typical lumbering English centre forward. Liverpool are in the FA Cup final now because of him. So 35 million euros.
Once again, Matt's got his clutch bag, so we'll go over to Matt now. Matt, what have you got to add for us?
Well, I couldn't disagree more strongly with Peter. I was at that Arsenal game when Andy Carroll absolutely terrorised the Arsenal's defence, and he looked to me like a really high quality player who's got technique, pace, great in the air, great physical strength. He just has had all the confidence knocked out of him, and I think a goal like this that he scored today, actually, we could see next season the Andy Carroll we didn't see this season.
Or maybe even, Antoine, you're nodding there.
I'm here.
Yeah, but do you think that there's still time this season, the FA Cup final, for instance?
Yeah, I think there is. Remember, he scored the winning goal against Blackburn midweek as well. So that's 2 games in a row now. His confidence seems to be on the increase. He's been playing better and better. So I'm pretty confident that he's going to keep rising. He'll never be the striker to score 30 goals a season, but he can get 20.
No, I disagree.
Jim, can I just ask you, you're one of our Everton writers for Sabotage Times. How do you think, for those who haven't seen Jelavic before, it looked a little bit like a cross between Mork from Mork and Mindy and the Psycho in Dirty Harry. But was that a good game for him? Did he play as well as you'd expected, or could he have done more?
I think he can do more, definitely. But the problem is, a lot of Everton's attacks are relying upon him. And so, I think there's a lot of pressure on him to do well. I think that kind of undermines the heart when he's playing for Everton. And I worry that as the season goes on into next season, there'll be a lot of pressure on him to be focused.
And Jim, if it hadn't been Liverpool that beat you, would you have been happy reaching the semi-finals and going out at the semi-finals? Would that have been a successful season for Everton?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, getting that far for a club like us, it's tough. But being beaten by the Shite is always the worst thing that can happen to him.
And what about what Eric said, your fellow Evertonian? Do you think that the right team was on the pitch, or certainly the right squad was on the bench?
It's hard to say, really. I think the main problem with Everton is that because they're too keen to play the long ball. You watch Liverpool play and they play through the part and out the wings. Every time they get the ball at the back, they knock it long.
Okay. Eric, fire away, go on.
Yeah, I disagree with that. In the first half especially, there were so many back passes to Jones and long balls from Jones, and Carroll got his head on it, but it fell to Fellaini so many times. There were so many times where the long ball out of the back from Liverpool went into possession for Everton, and Everton got it into the attack very quickly. And I completely disagree with that observation. I thought Everton did a really good job.
Owen.
I think with Fellaini, I think what you saw in the second half was Jay Spears moved to the pitch and got a lot closer to Fellaini to stop that ball. And I was surprised by Everton moved to the forwards in the second half and pushed the pressure onto Liverpool. As we've already said, they sat back, they gave momentum to Liverpool. They were far better coming out in that more attacking formation second half and playing to their strengths and getting a Liverpool defence which was struggling in the first half.
Antoine, behind you I can see a picture of Gerrard. What did you think about Gerrard's performance? Because he didn't seem to be getting in the game and dominating in his usual fashion.
Yeah, I think his position was playing him today. He was too deep in my opinion. In fact, he ended up going back a few times up and out of the defence a lot. So he was he was surging a bit, but yeah, it wasn't the normal Gerrard we're used to seeing in the past. Not the Gerrard that played against the Everton in our last game against them.
Well, there's an opinion that Gerrard, Liverpool rely on Gerrard too much, and they sort of look to pass the ball to him when there are better options. Owen, would you have anything to add to that? You've got your handbag up.
If you asked me that at the beginning of the season, I'd have said yes. I wrote an article on Sabotage Times saying that Liverpool, Gerrard's injury was far better for Liverpool than it was good. And I think now what you'll see is that Gerrard's role has to change because he hasn't got the legs. He hasn't got the legs he had. I think they're bypassing more and more. They're looking for Suarez, always at the first ball, and then looking for the other players to play off Suarez and in pass. And I think what we saw of Gerrard today, he has to play like that to continue over 2 or 3 more seasons. He can't be the player he was because simply he's had too many injuries and he hasn't got the legs in.
Did you, Owen? For me, when the Liverpool lineup was announced, I thought they looked really flat across the middle. Were you surprised that Rodriguez, Coit, and Bellamy, certainly Bellamy, weren't in the starting lineup?
No, I wasn't actually. All season I've argued for this front three of Bellamy, Suarez and Kite because of the pressure and the way they interchange. But I think today, on a massive pitch like Wembley, I think Kenny got it right today. I don't think he's got his substitutions right all season. Today, he right players at the right time because he knew players like Bellamy making a team go backwards in the last 10 minutes on such a big pitch. I think he got it right today. But I can understand why the neutral would have thought that.
Eric, as an Everton fan, considering that you 1-0 ahead and you ended up losing the game, what would you have done differently to David Moyes on the day?
It's really hard because, as Owen said earlier, he expected us to attack and put on a second striker. Who? I mean, we could have put on Stracolursi. There's nobody else out there for Everton to put on. Anichebe's not a striker. He can play off the striker, but he's not a center, and Everton just doesn't have the personnel to force it the way that Owen suggested. The only other option would have been Drenthe, and I'm really surprised that he wasn't involved in this match.
Especially with your lack of options in the squad.
Just a matter of pace. I think he would have been a Bellamy-esque type, just game changer, just to bring on the pace late, to force the issue, to maybe turn Carragher, who would have been tired at that point in the match.
Matt, you're waving your handbag once again. We'll go over to you. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think Moyes let a real player drop when he let Yakubu go in January. Yakubu's been out with injury. Now he seems to be recovering from that injury, and he's been scoring hatful of goals for Blackburn.
Well, Eric's got some thoughts on this. We'll go right back to you, Eric. What do you think about Yakubu then?
I think the situation with Yakubu is definitely formation and what he's getting at Blackburn versus what he had at Everton. He's not going to be the sole forward as he was forced to be at Everton. He's not good at holding up the ball. He doesn't really make runs, and I don't think that's really an excuse or an answer as far as Everton's concerned. I don't think that he would have had any options at Everton.
We've talked about some of the players like Suarez and Bellamy and Carroll who kind of changed the game for Liverpool. Who do any of you think, in the modern cliche of football, need to take a good look at themselves? Pretty much every week somebody's been told to take a good look at themselves. Owen?
Jordan Henderson, always Jordan Henderson, looks great until he touches the ball. He gets to the place to close it down. But when he gets the ball, he's got such a chronic lack of vision, but it just becomes a waste of play. Great when you haven't got the ball, with the ball, awful. Shocking. Take the notice.
Owen, would you say maybe it's more of a case of Liverpool's players, new players like Henderson and maybe Charlie Adam as well, needing to gel or just not being good enough at all?
Charlie Adam's good in a team where everyone thinks, oh look, little old Liverpool, they can go forward, they can score 5, they can see 3. Charlie Adams is a big fish in that team and he's fantastic at it. but no one ever looks at his negative points. He gets into a team like Liverpool, who have to try and keep the ball a bit more, have to try and protect the lead, and they're looking to kick on. And he just isn't good enough for that. And Henderson is just, I don't know. Henderson needs to go out and learn.
Antoine, you were waving your handbag around then.
Regarding both of them, I'm kinder. As far as Charlie Adam is concerned, he was on the rise with Lucas. They were really starting to develop our focus on Lucas. So, as far as I'm concerned, I think the jury's allowed for him. Henderson, he's young. I think he can be a potential great player given some time. Maybe being out on loan might be a solution, but in a few years he'll come good, like Lucas did. You know, 4 years ago everybody was bashing Lucas, and look at him now. He's one of our best players.
Jim, what about from the Everton perspective? Who do you think should take a good look at themselves? Not Phil Neville, obviously, you know.
I think the team's not told to play quite well. There aren't that many people in the Everton side who don't play well. I think you've got a good squad and a good players team. There's 10 players outside, but the final answer for our budget and our kind of financials, it's a pretty good side. It's just not good enough to kind of, win trophies and get the top 6.
Eric, you were waving your handbag earlier. We'll go over to you. What are your thoughts?
Maggie Guy, I thought he could have tracked back a little bit better. Definitely, whenever Downing switched sides with Henderson, that caused Everton some problems. The lack of him tracking back. It would have been really nice to have Landon Donovan in this match. Something that didn't happen. And kept tied. Definitely hurt. I mean, it's a squad, but I really, I don't know. I'm disappointed. Going in, I thought we had a chance, but there's always that rivalry and form goes out the window, as they say.
Peter, was there anybody who surprised you that didn't really play well today?
Not really. I think the players that I don't really rate that Liverpool didn't play particularly well.
Who was that?
Stuart Downing.
Yeah, we haven't mentioned him, have we?
No, he's a nice cross, but he's so cumbersome to watch. I don't think that control is good. And I wasn't impressed with him. Henderson, again, I still can't understand how anybody at Liverpool could sanction the sort of money like over here. But I guess with Everton, just as a whole, there weren't any particular players that played really badly. I just thought they did a bit more up for in the second half. So I'd probably say that anyone who's going to look at themselves is David Moyes.
Antoine, go.
Yeah, I think, and it's really against my heart. I think Jamie Carragher, he's past it. He's past it now, unfortunately. And the mistake he made today was pretty bad.
Louise, you're smiling there.
Yeah, Carragher is past it. Years past it.
Who do you hate most in the Liverpool team? Because you are probably Liverpool's biggest hater online, aren't you, on Twitter?
Probably.
Where do you start? Go on, where do you start?
Steven Gerrard.
Yeah, why don't you like him? Keep it clean.
I just think he's past it as well.
Yeah, you know what? I actually think there was. I know you're being kind of brutal, but there was twice today when he got caught with the ball, and I kind of thought that wouldn't have happened a few years ago. Just.
Exactly.
Who else? Who's next on your hit list?
Suarez.
Yeah, because of Evra.
Oh, just because he's a disgrace to the world.
Who else?
Stuart Downing is a waste of money. Henderson's a waste of money.
Yeah.
Charlie Adams is a waste of money. Even
You should love them then.
Who else? Everyone.
What do you think of the Liverpool goalie? I think he was drafted in so late he had to buy his own ticket.
Yeah, I think he did well. He didn't really do much, though, did he? He didn't have much to do.
Okay. Follow Tonians, Eric. There, you're waving your bag around.
Yeah, I think that's a key. The fact that Jones didn't have to do much. Osman got a shot off and completely crossed him up, and he almost spills it there at one point in the second half. Everton just needed to test him and put him to the fire a little bit, and it just didn't happen.
It would have been a perfect opportunity for Duncan Ferguson-esque, like roughing up at a goalkeeper. No, Jim?
Sure. Yeah, I don't know who they would have brought on. Probably Enriquez, I guess.
Jim, do you think that was a missed opportunity? Do you think not clattering that Jones was a missed opportunity?
No, I think if you're going to play with a long ball, you should do it into the box, yeah? I mean, really, if that's how we're going to play, we should have power balls in there and try to kind of batter him and shake him, and we didn't.
Yeah, I think that. I mean, even from the point of view of, obviously we mentioned Duncan Ferguson there, but even from the point of view of just testing him with shots, there was a couple of corners when he came out and he looked. There was one where there was a long cross in, he was flapping around. I thought he looked a weak link for Liverpool, to be honest.
No, I agree with that.
Antoine, going back to you, considering Liverpool did win on the day, do you think Dalglish got everything right tactically with the substitutions as well?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay. Matt, you're shaking your head. You think, we were watching it together, you think that Liverpool are in trouble actually, don't you?
Are you talking to me?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Kenny Dalglish has built a brilliant league-winning side if this was 1988.
What do you think he needs to do to kind of actually move on from here?
Well, I think he needs a ball-playing number 10, someone who can work in between the lines, someone who can link Suarez to the midfield.
Peter.
Spend that money a bit more sensibly.
Peter.
It's a man bag.
It's all right, yeah.
I just wanted to ask the Liverpool fans this question that we've been having on Twitter just now. Would you swap potentially 2 cups for Champions League place? Because I almost feel like Kenny Dalglish has won himself an additional season. He's face value what to spend and where Liverpool are going to end this season. I mean, this year's a favourite region with 2 cups.
No.
Antoine?
I strongly disagree. I've never swapped any cup with a Champions League spot. The reason is simple, that a cup stays in your trophy room forever. The Champions League spot is there for just one season.
How long do you, but being mediocre for the next 5 years?
No, that's not going to happen.
You don't think?
Peter, can I ask you, is that coming from the point of view that somebody hasn't got any silverware for quite a long time, whereas has consistently qualified for Europe with Arsenal?
We've won the Emirates Cups.
Oh, well, yeah, fair play.
Owen, you were also waving your handbag there. What?
Fans kind of get in this situation where we're like, well, I'd like a cup, but
yeah.
A cup is only worth anything these days if there's a Champions League football with it. And I think that Liverpool fans, you really did a bit of soul searching. Probably agree. Who's going to want to join Liverpool this summer with the season that he's had, the mixture? I just think that, okay, you want to up with a cup, but it's not worth it. You're not in the elite competition.
It's not just a matter of. I'm sorry.
Go on, carry on. Now, feel free to burst in now. Go on.
Yeah, it's not just a matter of who is going to join us, but there's also a situation of what Liverpool is willing to pay. You know, everybody's talking about. No, wait a minute. Everybody's looking at just the price we're paying for the players. No one's looking at the wages.
Yeah.
The wages.
Just to give you an example, Forrest was making I believe about 200,000 a week. Now, Andy Carroll was only making 70,000.
Only 70,000? Only 70,000, 35 million pounds. It's great. How do you ever say that? Man. Liverpool cannot get rid of the dross this summer. Because who's going to buy Julian Henderson? Who's going to buy Downey? Who's going to buy Howard? You're in a world class.
Owen, you've been waiting patiently with your handbag. What's your take?
I think what we've demonstrated, we probably could have got through Spurs fans here today just to show that other fan teams have sessioned ahead of what their own team do, is still alive. Secondly to that, if you said to me at the beginning of the season, would you prefer to win 2 cups or get back into the Champions League and say, yes, I'd like to win the Champions League, but if you win 2 out of the 3 competitions you enter, can that be considered failing? I mean, I understand that League form was dropped off massively since Christmas, but I don't know. I think it's very short-termist, which is quite an Arsenal thing. It's very short-termist now. Dalglish at the end of the season has started getting up.
Jim, you've got your bag up. What do you have to say?
To assume that they've won 2 cups, they've won 1 cup.
The question was, would you prefer to win 2 cups or get in the Champions League? That was the question I was asked. That was the question. So I'm not assuming anything. I've got a couple of nice mugs here you can have if you want.
Matt, you've got your bag up again. Over to you.
I think, Owen, the difference between winning 2 cups or 1.5 versus league position is that league is the true measure of how good your side is. And the fact is, Liverpool aren't good enough.
No, I disagree with that, Matt. No, Matt, I disagree with that because actually, every year you are entered into 2 or 3 cup competitions, and it's as important to be able to succeed in cups as it is where you stand in the league. I think had Arsenal beat Birmingham in that cup final a couple of years ago, you wouldn't have been saying that. I think, if you look at how we rate our international teams, our national teams, it's nothing to do with. Nobody cares whether Brazil or Italy or Holland, where they are in the world. It's how they perform in cup competition.
Don't get me wrong. I know that football is about glory. It's about trophies. It's about those days being remembered for the rest of your life. I totally agree with that. What I'm saying is that Liverpool this season have not been good enough, and Liverpool fans all season have had to watch football that isn't good enough. Now that's what sticks in the craw.
Do you think that's fair, Owen?
I think Matt's got a very good point on some of the football hasn't been good enough at times. I can't understand why it sticks to the craw there as an Arsenal fan. But
no, I'm saying it sticks in your craw. I know you've been moaning about Liverpool all season.
I think what I'd say is that the positives from this season is Liverpool have gone 13 games unbeaten in cups and have put out City United and very good teams. There's the positives. The negatives, as it has been, even since Rafa was the manager, the inability at times to beat teams they're expected to beat. And that's a culture.
Do you know what I think? What I think is one of the most telling points of view here is the person that hasn't really been ruffled is 20 Jugs, because I mean, obviously I'm not a big fan of Manchester United, I support Leeds, but did you think at the start of the season, 20 Jugs, that you would have possibly not be where you are in the league now, and that the Liverpools, the Man Cities would have been above you?
No, never.
I mean, do Man United fans, those of us look in, think, Fergie's getting a little bit older, he hasn't really got any glitz players, he's had to bring Scholes back, he's shipped a few players out like Gibson that he thought might make it. But at the heart of the Manchester United fan base, do you just feel genuinely that nobody is going to knock you at the moment?
Well, yeah, I think we're doing really well. We've got luck. We've had a lot of luck recently, but you have to have a bit of luck. I think we'll win the league. Easy.
Would you prefer it if Liverpool were better?
No.
But wouldn't it be greater satisfaction if it was Liverpool that you'd just gone ahead of at the top of the league rather than Manchester City?
No, because I like laughing at Liverpool. I just laugh at, mediocre, nearer the bottom than the top.
Where do you think, I know we kind of just moving slightly away from the FA Cup semi there, do you think Manchester United are going to win the league?
Yes.
And what about next year?
Yes, why not?
And what about in 10 years?
In 10 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course we will.
And would you have any of the managers of these teams that are playing this weekend replace Ferguson when he leaves?
David Moyes. I love him.
That's popular with the Liverpool fans. What about you, Jim? Do you think David Moyes could do a job at Everton? Would we be even discussing him at Everton if he wasn't Ferguson's mate? Because he hasn't won anything with Everton, has he?
He hasn't won anything now, but he's still a great manager.
Yeah.
I mean, he has mixed resources, and he's kept the team in the top 8. I mean, you know, he can't be asking more than that. I mean, and before he came, Everton had, 15 years of a side so royal, Ross, at times being caught in the bottom 3 nearly. So, you know, he makes you feel confident that each season you won't go down on good chance. You might have a couple more and you'll finish, you know,
But
top 6. That's all you can ask for, really.
Do you think he'd make a good Manchester United manager?
No.
No, I don't either.
I don't think he can buy that well.
I don't think he's just not. I think the good managers get used to winning, and they get used to being, kind of. I think, to be honest, if Moyes really wanted to win, he would have left Everton. I think he likes managing Everton, and for whatever reason, he would rather manage Everton than go to a club where he could have won something.
But James, personally, I think Moyes has done a brilliant job with the budget he's had, sort of similar to Arsene Wenger. I mean, obviously, I'll say this as an Arsenal fan, but I think they've both had recently budgets that have been quite difficult to work with, and they've both done really well. Owen, you've got your bag up. Over to you.
I was just going to offer some praise to David Moyes, actually. I think if Everton had had any other manager, we could be talking about a Sheffield Wednesday type situation. I really do. I think the levels of organisation, even training, and so each player knows their job, has been phenomenal. And I also think if Stephen Pienaar had played today, it could have been a different result, because he's been a different. He makes that team tick, and without him, well, it was the Everton from before Christmas.
Peter, as an Arsenal fan, do you see Moyes as somebody who could move Arsenal forward if Arsene left?
No, I think he's a really good manager. I think he brings through some great players, but there's a massive difference between managing a top 4 club. But I guess it probably comes down a little bit. I know this is a bit snobby to say, but it's like the whole British managers. We don't trust them as much as perhaps we should. I think Manchester United are going to have to replace Ferguson with someone like Mourinho. I think he's probably the only person that's going and replace so there's Arsene Wenger would have to be replaced by a league manager who's won the Champions League. I think Moyes would go to Tottenham if he goes anywhere, and I think that would probably be the height of his career.
We've got fans here of 3 of the teams with the longest serving managers in the league. Antoine, do you think Kenny Dalglish is going to be there at the end of next season?
Yes.
And you think that this time next year you'll have improved on 2 finals, 1 win, and finishing 8th?
We'll improve in our league table. I don't know if we can win 2 more cups next year, but we'll improve in our league table, definitely.
And that's what matters.
Jim, you've got your rather nice black handbag up there. Do you fancy to take over? Should Moyes get a bigger job?
I don't really know, to be honest. I mean, I don't really want to think about the future without Moyes, because I think he's been one of the best Everton managers in the club's history. I think he's kind of unparalleled, really. I mean, possibly Kendall can...
Possibly Kendall?
What's that?
Did you say possibly Kendall is better than Moyes?
Kendall's better, but Moyes is up there with him as well, because he's done an amazing job with the club.
You see, to me, I just find that strange, because it's a little bit, for a long time, 20 years ago, Everton were the best team in Britain, by far. The end of the 80s, they had a great team. I'm not an Everton fan, but I could name you that team. I could probably name you 7 or 8 of the team straight off the top of my head. That they represented their countries, they played well. They played for England and Ireland in the 86 and 90 World Cups. And yet you're at a point now that you're happy to sort of occupy the position, or you accept occupying the position that teams like Southampton and Coventry used to have, which was, or that Fulham and West Brom have now got, that they're just happy to be in the Premiership, to be safe in mid-table, and really, I mean, I just find that bizarre because I think maybe it's, Everton were a great team in my lifetime. They were a great team at the end of the 80s, and even coming into the 90s, you were winning things. Jim.
In the 90s, we almost went down twice. And I was there on both those games, and it's a horrible feeling. And it makes you realise that the team wasn't as good as I thought it was. And then during the 90s, with the exception of one season with Joe Royal,
yeah,
it was still pretty crap. And I think Everton have been on a long-term decline. And it hasn't been,
okay,
I really think that there's a strong chance that we could have been in the championship right now. So really, the fact that we're still in the top flight is something to be celebrated, and it's all down to him.
Eric, you had your bag up just before Jim did. Speaking of David Moyes, what are your thoughts on the situation?
I really think that we needed to get into a European spot this year, and I don't think that's possible now. I mean, we've got to overtake Chelsea for 6th now at this point, and hope that Liverpool wins the cup, and then
I think Everton have also suffered not from just lack of investment. I think they've suffered not just because of a lack of investment in their own playing squad, their own playing staff, but also just because, Aston Villa, until they sold all the players, they put a lot of money in. Newcastle have got a manager that's clearly got a balanced team that are overachieving, or certainly doing better than people anticipated. Manchester City's newfound wealth. It's not just that you haven't got the players to compete, you're just being edged aside by clubs with much bigger money. Jim? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand why there isn't investment. I did make it to Goodison for the first time this January, beginning of February, and saw the City match, and I really just do not understand why there isn't more investment in the club with such a history and such a great fan base.
And just tell me, I know you're based in the States. Antoine's in Florida. Whereabouts are you? Where do you watch Everton from?
I'm smack dab in the middle of the country in Kansas.
And how did you become an Everton fan?
My Everton loyalty started with my local MLS club, Kansas City Wizards, now Sport of KC, with players such as Preki, Paul Rideout, Mo Johnson.
Okay.
All play for Everton and the Wizards. And so whenever I was looking for a club...
That's a brilliant name. I wish there was a team in English football, or indeed Scottish football, called the Wizards.
It's not the Wizards anymore.
But somebody like Grimsby, Grimsby became the Grimsby Wizards. And they put a Z in the Grims as well. Clubs without good marketing opportunities really should go more glam rock. We could have the Middlesbrough Mud, the Southampton Sweet, T. Rotherham.
So that's where I got started. And this was back in about 97, 98, whenever I got turned on to Everton. So it's been a little bit of a roller coaster since then, but I wouldn't trade it for any other.
Now, obviously, you had a local connection with former Everton players coming to play for you, but for you, I'm addressing this to you and Antoine. Are Liverpool and Everton really known in the States in the way that I imagine Manchester United might be, or Real Madrid might be?
Liverpool's got a much higher profile.
That's probably down to Antoine, really, isn't it? He's got the biggest Liverpool blog in the world, and it's based in Florida.
Well, I was a Liverpool fan when I was a kid, When I came to the United States, I remained a Liverpool fan. So it's not a blog that I put here.
Okay.
We have quite a few Liverpool fans across the state. Estimates is about 5,000 in our club, and about 30,000.
Owen.
Just a question for the Everton fans. This talk is investment, and obviously Liverpool over the last 5 or 6 years have had two very different types of investors. One who are looking to milk the club and one team is there to back it. Do you think Enright is doing the right thing by weighing the right side of the distance rather than having, say, a vengeful discipline like that? I don't know what you think.
I would echo those same sentiments. I'm glad that Avenkis didn't come in and take us over. I don't think that that's what is going to make a difference at Everton. It's so hard to say. You want something, but you want to be careful what you want and what you ask for. And
But you know what though? I think the thing with Everton is it's not like you're a club that couldn't prosper without money, because somebody mentioned earlier that for many, many years Everton have been able to turn youth players into first team players. Eric.
what happens if that goes away?
Well, it's not doing, is it? Because you can go back 6 or 7 years. Rodwell, Rooney, the chap that they got from Plymouth Argyle that went off to Newcastle, Osman, Coleman. There's a lot of homegrown talent getting into that team.
Yeah, and Moyes is really good at finding the cheap bargain out there. It's kind of the Moneyball setup, but it's not necessarily good enough to change our status in the table. We are going to be a 6th to 9th club, and unless we can do something with Goodison, increase the match day take, and invest in the players that have the quality that it takes to be a European side or a Champions League side.
Peter Wood from Le Grove there.
I just wanted to say, I've read quite a lot about the Everton fans and everything that's been going on regarding investment, but I have the question, why as an investor would you invest in Everton Football Club? What fans essentially are asking is just put a load of your money into buying players, and what would the return be? There's a small stadium, it's not in, it's in that sort of catchment area where you've got 8 or 9 clubs, and Manchester City can't fill out their space. I mean, it's not like buying Arsenal with all of the facilities that we've got. You're essentially saying, somebody just give us a load of money, and like I said, you're absolutely right. Be careful what you wish for, because there are plenty of people out there that will come in with promises and deliver very little.
Eric, do you want to jump in on this?
Yeah, I'll jump back in. I think it's seen with the loan with Landon Donovan and Tim Howard being in the club that there's quite a craving for an underdog team for America, especially to support. I think that if marketing was done, they just signed a new kit sponsorship deal with Nike. Not quite as lucrative as the one with Warrior, but anyway. I think the Nike deal will increase the visibility of Everton greatly, and there's a lot of opportunities out there to make money off of the Everton name, and it's just not being done. And I don't know if Ken Wright has the ability or the foresight to implement those strategies to make that money.
Louise, what's your take on the system at Everton with the sort of the young players coming through? Sort of a bit similar to Man United, you might say. What do you think about that?
They love taking our players that we use. It's fine. We're kind of like that.
They're a little bit like a sort of a dirty laundry bag for Man United, aren't they? Fergie wears them a little bit, thinks don't fancy that, and just shoves them in the bag. So Everton will give us $1 million for them.
Helping the needy.
Did you ever think Darren Gibson was going to make it at United? Darren Gibson, who played for Everton today, or?
I'd like to think so, but no, he's just not taking off for United, I'm afraid.
Is there anyone else you'd get rid of from your team at the moment?
No.
Come on, there must be someone you think doesn't do it for you.
No one. I can't think of anyone. No.
And how's your obsession with Gary Neville going?
He still hasn't replied to me on Twitter.
Are you surprised about that? What about when you went and met him, didn't you?
Yes, I did. October.
Did he sign your book?
Yes, he did.
Was there any magic?
Yeah, I think he loves me.
Did he have any idea who you were?
No, thank God.
How many tweets do you send him a week?
No, I don't tweet him anymore because
Because he's cold shouldering you.
yeah, I'm sorry, blocked.
The restraining order on.
How do you feel that we had this piece on Sabotage, which we kind of felt reflected a wider, a more, a quite unexpected tolerance and indeed appreciation from rival football clubs' fans as of Neville as an analyst on Sky?
He deserves it. He's really good, honest, unbiased. He's really good.
Do you feel like you've lost him now?
He'll be United manager one day.
Do you think so? I don't. I think if he was going to be Man United manager, he'd already started focus on managing someone, not talking about other managers.
Owen, earlier you were talking about how you thought Everton missed Pienaar. What about Liverpool as the season on the whole? Would you think you've missed Lucas more than anything?
I mean, we had an article on Sabotage which showed Lucas's stats were better than any of the midfielder in Europe over the past 18 months. Who would have missed that stat? I think going back to United quickly with these squad players, best thing Fergie's done over the years is he's kept players like Wes Brown and John O'Shea around for 8 to 10 years and played them 15 to 20 games a season, and that plugs the gaps. Liverpool has been historically terrible at doing that. And I think even now, we've got players like Squeezy, who is probably a 15-game season player. He's probably going to make 40 points. I'm not saying he's going to be a player, but we've got to buy again now. We've got to encourage those players to stay, so have a strong and balanced squad to step forward.
Okay, on the subject of, let's just bring it back to the FA Cup semi-final, just one by one, starting with Peter Wood from The Grove, the Arsenal blog. Peter, your man of the match, please, and why?
Probably Luis Suarez. I had a bit of a problem with his finishes late. I didn't think he was going to slip that away. I thought he took that chance really well. He worked brilliant hard, and I thought he had a good game. That's something I thought he looked top.
Okay, and Owen?
I couldn't really disagree with that, but I'd say Cameron Clark, I think he won the physical battle with defence in the second half, something he hasn't always done this season, and he took the pressure off. And for the first time today, his flick on went in the right places.
And Matt?
Yeah, Andy Carroll for me. After that miss, the fact that he actually got better after that miss, rather than letting his head drop.
He got better as it got nearer to the start of the Grand National. Did you notice that? he really started. He went from a canter to a gallop. He was jumping over players like a horse taking fences.
His mane wasn't getting in the way as much.
And he actually scored off the back of his ponytail. It was like a jockey flying off the back of a saddle. Louise, who is your man of the match?
Leighton Baines. I like Leighton Baines. I think he's great.
Would you like him at Man United?
Yeah, I'd like him at United.
Okay, and Jim, who was your man of the match?
Probably Suarez. I hate him. I despise him. And the man, but he always looks dangerous, and he always seems to score those kind of goals. So, despite being a swag, it's Suarez.
And what about for Everton? Did you think anyone had a particularly good game?
Baines was good, and Fellaini always put in the ball. But aside from that, not really.
Okay, Eric from Folotonians.
I thought Distin, except for the one back pass, had a really great game. I thought he did what he needed to get that. Just one mistake, and it's tragic. I'm reading a quote of his off of Twitter. It says, I cost my teammates, the staff, the club, and the fan a place in the cup final. Nothing more to say, but sorry for you all. I feel horrible for him. I think he had a really great match, save for that one back pass.
Okay, Antoine, your man of the match?
Well, Andy Carroll, for the obvious, obviously scoring the last minute there.
I think Carroll. I was impressed. I was impressed, as Matt said, that the last 20 minutes he really was trying to make. Maybe he'd been told he was going to be following Kamoli out if he didn't sort himself out, but he did seem to genuinely, really, he put a few good passes together. And also I think that miss early on in the second half, if that had happened, 18 months ago at Newcastle, He'd have just got on with it. There wouldn't have been the head in the shirt, and he's kind of just got to get through that. I think he's clearly a good player.
Antoine, I'm not sure if you saw the interview after the game with Jamie Carragher, but he said at Liverpool there's no one in the Premier League that you'd swap Luis Suarez for. Do you have anything to say to that?
I agree.
So Robin van Persie, obviously I'm a bit biased, but you'd rather have Suarez than Van Persie or Rooney, even though I'm sure you dislike him a lot. Does anyone else agree with what Carragher said? Owen, you're a Liverpool fan.
I mean, you make a very good point about Van Persie, Sam. You really do. He's obviously been fantastic but there's always the question mark about Van Persie's fitness.
Yeah.
Suarez, if you look over his career, it doesn't really get injured. He constantly plays. You look at his games record when he was at Groningen, when he was at Ajax, he always plays. In that, for the complete package, I'd like to see if Liverpool could score more goals, and I think his decision making could improve at times. But on the balance of it,
Okay, well look, thank you all for taking part. The great thing that we found out about this is that anyone can go and do this. We try to anchor this and kind of ping it around, but this is each one of you with your own followers on Twitter, your own message boards, Antoine, Eric and Peter with your own blogs. It's all there for Google+. This has been the first Handbags at dawn. Started at about 3 o'clock, so late as ever. But thanks for taking part. And we're going to be putting this on the sabotagetimes.com page. We're going to be putting this on the Sabotage Times. Matt, stop waving your handbag around. We've finished now with the handbags. You can see it on YouTube on our page, the Sabotage Times. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Love you.